done much this offseason. They added running back Javonte Williams from the Broncos and defensive lineman Solomon Thomas from the Jets. But their only other key moves this offseason have been re-signing their own players. So, Stephen A., with that being said, do the Cowboys deserve more criticism for their inactivity and free agency so far?
No, I wouldn't say. Listen, I don't like it. But unfortunately, they've been so pathetic. This is an improvement. I mean, again, their inactivity and free agency is one matter, but at least they had shaved about $57 million off of their cap with restructuring a couple of deals in CD and Dak. So I get that part. I'm not impressed with what I'm seeing. They keep talking about their all in and what they need to do. And then inexplicably, they're inactive. I get that part. But last year was so bad, I can't even complain about them being worse this year. I mean, that's all I got to say about that, fellas.
No, the Cowboys don't deserve criticism because the Cowboys need to be about the business of taking care of the homegrown talent that has already produced, right? The reason why the Cowboys had to restructure CeeDee Lamb's deal and Dak Prescott's deal last week is because they got to steal from future cap in order to take care of business in the here and now. And that business includes Micah Parsons. That business includes trying to get ahead of the guys that will be free agents a year from now. Guys like all-pro corner Deron Bland. Guys like all-pro returner Kevon Turpin. Tyler Smith, Pro Bowl offensive line, and Jake Ferguson, a core piece. The Cowboys' organizational philosophy when it comes to paying their homegrown players has been a day late and a dollar more. And at some point, that's got to stop if you want to keep pace with the Joneses in the NFC East, like the Philadelphia Eagles. People always ask the question, well, why can't the Cowboys do what the Eagles do? Because the Eagles pay their guys that are core pieces as soon as they're contract extension eligible. That's how you avoid paying absolute top of the market prices. But because the Dallas Cowboys haven't done that, they're forced in the unenviable position of having to pay top of the market prices for their edge pass rusher, which is an expensive position, and then all the other guys that they would like to hold on to. So that's where it is with the Dallas Cowboys. They can't go shopping in the marketplace because they got to take care of their own. That's what all that cap space is for.
No, they don't deserve no criticism because this is what they do every year. They don't they don't do free agency because they're really bad at it. Guys, y'all remember when they signed Greg Hardy? They were the only team that wanted Greg Hardy. They signed him. That blew up in their face. They signed Jerry McCoy in 2020. He ruptured a quad or patella tendon, and he never played a game for him, and they released him. Same thing with Dontari Poe. He had just 7 tackles before being released 7 games into it. So it's like, you know what? We really suck at this free agency. Let's not dive into it. But Canty, you said something very important. See, the Cowboys, it's almost like they bet against their own players. See, if you watch Dak and you watch CD and you watch these guys every day in practice and you watch them in the game, why do you make them go all the way to the dead end of the contract to the period? Because now you got to pay. Because think about what you did. You let Max Crosby reset the market at 35.5. And then 3 days later, here comes Myles Garrett. Now, this is going to put Michael Parsons to the test because he said he didn't care about being the highest paid defensive player. Nick Bosa is at $34 million. Max Crosby, $35.5, and Myles Garrett's at $40. So you mean to tell me Michael Parsons is about to set up the contract after they've made him wait? Myles Garrett has gotten 2 7-figure deals, 8-figure deals, however you want to say it, but a lot of money. He's gotten 2 of those. Max Crosby, and you mean to tell me Michael Parsons is going to give Jerry a hometown discount, Stephen A., when he's made him go all the way to the end? No, it's the same thing that happened with the Cincinnati Bengals. Because you waited on Jamar Chase, now, and as he tweeted, this is what Chase tweeted, know your worth and then add a tax.
I ain't
when
mad
you
at
wait,
it for
like
that.
you said, you wait, you pay $1 more.
Well,
yeah.
I certainly applaud that negotiating tactic. Let's get that.
I know a guy that had to go to the umpteenth hour, and it cost him a little bit more money than it would have had they done the deal earlier. I'm just saying.
I've heard of them. I've heard of them. No doubt about that. And I get that part. The flip side to it is that Shannon, if you remember, both of us were on the air last year, so like, shh, You're like, Micah, be quiet. What you talking about? Oh, don't take your time. I'll wait. You know what I'm saying? I'll take a discount. We go, what's the matter with you? Don't say that.
Discount.
Because you don't know what the market is going to be. Be cool. And so even though, Shannon, he's going to get more than he would have gotten had he signed last year, Jerry is in a position to try to say to him, yeah, you did say. You understand that kind of hometown discount, maybe about $2 or $3 million. You didn't say that. You know, I get you. I fit. Hell yeah, I get exactly what you're saying, Shay. I'm just saying what he said.
Yeah, but you know what, Stephen, a line is harsh.
Hey, Shay, if we learn anything from the Myles Garrett situation, it's never about the money. Until it's about the money.
All right, we got to leave it there, guys. I got to get one more commercial break. We got a lot of laughs here on First Take Always, but Stephen's nephew has uncovered some never-seen...
I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it's like an American Pie.
You know what I'm saying? It does sound like
Story of a girl, right?
a girl.
Who sings that? Lincoln Park Radio.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like it.
I don't know why we
Lincoln
picked that
Park
either.
Jay-Z.
Oh yeah, that came in.
Encore.
That came on.
That's what I asked for. You didn't play that.
Well, it was a radio, so I can't choose the song. It's like a shuffle.
You can choose the song. You chose not to choose the song.
It came on eventually. You just weren't in there.
All right.
Sorry about it.
It's a great song.
So this is such a good workout song.
Okay.
Okay. You disagree?
Okay.
I mean, I go Hoop Collective Pod, but that's just me. Anyway, so with 1 day into NFL free agency, there were certainly some moves by way of free agency or trade that left us scratching our heads. Stan Orlovsky, ESPN NFL analyst, was on the free agency special yesterday on ESPN and had this to say about Laremy Tunsil, the 5-time Pro Bowl offensive tackle. There you go, Pat, the voice of the Pro Bowl, traded from C.J. Stroud to Jaden Daniels. That's how I'm going to look at it. It's traded from C.J. Stroud, Texans, to Jaden Daniels, Commanders.
Fantastic move by Washington. I'm very confused by Houston right now with this.
Weird.
Because the one thing that went poorly for them last year was their offensive line. They're trading away their best offensive linemen. So you're taking what was your weakness last year and making it weaker. And that's my concern. I love it for Washington. But if you're C.J. Stroud and you're going into year 3 and you got your butt kicked last year by pressure, I'm very confused by this move by Houston.
Okay, so this move that happened yesterday, which can be considered the biggest head scratcher, we've seen happen twice this offseason. Now, you're saying, what? What are you talking about? Okay, so the Houston Texans did not have a good offensive line last year protecting C.J. Stroud, and they decided to trade individually their best offensive linemen. The Kansas City Chiefs did not have a good offensive line last year protecting Patrick Mahomes, and they chose to trade away their best offensive lineman, Joe Thuney. I do wonder if teams are looking at this, and maybe we shouldn't be scratching our heads and saying if we're not good across the offensive line, having one great one is not as good as having 5 good ones or 4 good ones. Because we've seen this exact move twice.
So quantity over quality.
I guess so, Smalls. I mean, I wouldn't have thought about it that way. And as soon as this happened, Pat in our group chat, Costello, our producer, said, wow, that's a lot to give up because the Commanders gave up 4 picks. And my response was, well, not if he's good, it's not. Because the Commanders, CC had a brilliant point yesterday, and just one brilliant point. No, he had a brilliant point yesterday about the early insane levels of success makes quarterbacks cheaper later because they see a path. So if Jaden Daniels is this good this quickly, The Commanders going all in right now, as they've done Deebo Samuel and now Laremy Tunsil, actually will trigger Jaden Daniels ultimately to take less if you can get the insane success now. Like, Mahomes is not taking every dollar. Brady never took every dollar because they saw things like Mahomes sees Brady, Brady saw Montana. If Jaden Daniels can see Mahomes, you can keep doing things like this. It doesn't matter how much you actually give up because you're not going to pay him that much. But that was considered the biggest head scratcher, the Texans' move for Tunsil. Is there another one that you guys would look at?
I thought the Texans did the right thing in moving on from Laremy Tunsil, as oddly as that sounds. Yeah, I do. Just because this is a player that is going into his age 31 season, and over the last 2 years, he's given up 9 sacks. So Laremy Tunsil has not been that guy that's impossible to get around like he was years prior, back when he was coming into his prime at the end of it in Miami in the first couple of years in Houston. He's just not that same player. Now, he's still a damn good tackle, but he's not, I don't think he's at that same elite level, which is what the Texans saw. Now, it's not as if they didn't plan for this because they drafted Blake Fisher in the second round last year. Now, he hasn't stepped into those shoes yet. But I'm thinking that the Houston Texans are going to try to throw bodies at the situation. I would be surprised if they didn't try to take a tackle with a premium pick early on in this year's draft. But and this year is a deep offensive line draft too, right? So I think there is a part of the Texans' logic where it's saying, what can we do with the resources, the cap space that we're able to recoup from not having to play Tunsil, as well as what can we do with the draft capital over the next 2 years that we're going to get in return for Tunsil. I think that has to be their logic, their line of thinking, and they're saying we can find a way to add more players that can help us in totality than just having a guy that's pretty good at left tackle and not a whole else up front.
But taking everything you just said into account about Laremy Tunsil and the production, do you like the move for Washington? Because I loved the move for Washington.
I like the move for both teams. There are good people on both sides. I like the move for both teams. I do. I honestly do. For Washington, I get it. You're trying to establish Jaden Daniels as well as that program, and you don't want the career to get knocked out of him. Jaden Daniels got knocked around a little too much. That offensive line allowed too much quick pressure in his rookie season. So they're trying to stabilize that unit. And Laremy Tunsil will help you do that, even though he's not the same guy that he was once upon a time.
Yeah, I loved the move for Washington. You obviously realize that you have something special in Jaden Daniels, and you're going out there and you are doing whatever it takes to make sure that he's in the best position possible in order to replicate the success that he had in his rookie year, and getting him protection is the way to go. Plus, given the contract that he has, you have a couple years to figure out if you want to extend him. As you mentioned, CC, he's in his early 30s. I thought this was an awesome move for Washington yesterday.
Yeah, my biggest head scratcher, San Francisco. They've lost everyone, but specifically late last night, Adam Schefter first reported them cutting Kyle Juszczyk, their fullback, who's the best fullback in the sport. I know a lot of teams don't use fullback, but the ones that do have been very successful. And maybe they're going to play a different way this year. I don't know, but I can't understand this move versus restructuring with him. There are a lot of teams that